Armani Luminous Silk is legendary, but did the new formula make it even better or quietly make it worse for those of us with more mature skin? In today's Friday Face Off, I'm putting them head to head so you don't have to guess which one might be best for you. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jody. I do a Friday Face Off every other Thursday. Yes, it's on Thursday because more of you are on YouTube on Thursday than on Friday. So we switched to Thursday upload day, but we still call it Friday Face Off because, well, it just sounds better. Friday Face Off is where I take two very comparable products and we do a side-by-side application and a 8-hour wear test to see which one is better. It's rare that I do two of the same product, but because many of you love the Armani Luminous Silk and it's a holy grail for a lot of people, I wanted to see what the new one is like. And I'm going to try not to be biased on this one because I have been a lover of the YSL All Hours Foundation for years. It was my holy grail. It's what I always wore. I loved it. I got compliments on my skin all the time. And my skin, as you can see, I don't have foundation on. It's not beautiful, but that YSL All Hours made it look beautiful. And then they changed the formula. Not only was finding a new shade from my old shade in their new shade range just discouraging and a nightmare, but the formula didn't wear the same. So when I hear of a beloved foundation changing its formula, I don't always love that. Now, a couple of things to note right off the bat. One of the things that they did add that I do really like is they now have 44 shades and many of them are designed for more olive tone skin, which was not available in their original formula. The other big change they made is the new one has niacinamide. I'm not a big fan of niacinamide being in foundation because if you have sensitive skin, niacinamide can have a tendency to break you out. So just know that there is now niacinamide in the new formula where there wasn't before. What hasn't changed is the price. This one is still $69. You'll notice my original is the smaller one. This one is $48. I buy the smaller one in this foundation because it's not my favorite foundation. I do like it, but I buy the smaller one. Again, $48, $69. I also have the old formula in 5.5. I really struggled with trying to find the right shade. So you'll notice that the 5.5, which is the old formula, is a bit darker than what I got, which is the 4.5 in the new shade. The old shade is a little bit warmer, so I actually think I might like this new shade. Make sure you can see it. I might actually like this new shade better because it's more of a neutral tone. That was one of the reasons I didn't really love the original, was because of how warm it seemed to always feel on my skin. And I like a little heavier coverage. Now, this new formula, similar to the old formula, is a medium coverage, buildable, natural finish, long wearing, hydrating formula. So let's just get right into it and see how these wear. Now, I have combination skin, so we're gonna be able to tell how this new formula wears on more oily skin and then more dry skin. I also have on sunscreen, but I don't have on any primer, and we will not be setting this with a setting spray or a setting powder. And I am gonna apply a cream blush just so we can see how that wears because that's a common product that many people do apply. And normally I would apply some contour and some bronzer, but I typically apply that in this more oily area. And I don't want to apply any products on top of this new foundation because I wanna see how it wears in those patchy areas. We're looking for things like, does it slip? Does it drag? Does it pull? Does it settle into fine lines and wrinkles? Does it blur the skin? How does it wear over time? Like I said, we'll do an 8-hour wear test. Is the final finish more of that natural glow like they say, or is it more soft matte? Some of the reviews have had a lot to say about this new formula, so let's get right into it. First, I'm gonna apply the old formula, and I'm just gonna use about a pump and a half. This is the BK Beauty 101 Contour Foundation Brush. It is my favorite foundation brush, and I like to apply my foundation on that outer perimeter when I have the majority of the product on the brush, and then move it more to the high movement areas on my face, which are around my mouth. I carry some laugh lines around. They call them smoker lines or vertical lines. I'm not a fan, and for some reason they want to really kick in high gear the last year or so. This foundation I know many of you love. I personally think that for $69, there are better options on the market. I think the Tom Ford or the Prada wears better than this. I never found that I got good coverage, and I felt like my pores were really accentuated when I used this foundation. Now, the 5.5 in the old formula is a little bit darker. and it's definitely warmer, so you'll see some discoloration as I go down to my neck. I'm not going to blend that in because this isn't a foundation that I'm going to wear out and about today, because I am editing all day and doing some planning in a Zoom call. We're not going anywhere, so it's okay that it doesn't match. And I think it's good for you to see how warm that is. All right, let's go to this new formula. I'm gonna give it a good shake, because you should always shake your foundations before you apply them. Could at least make my hair look the same so I'm not looking too crazy. I'm glad you guys are liking these Friday face-offs as much as I enjoy doing them. If I'm not mistaken, this is the 45th edition of the Friday face-off series. I started them 2.5 years ago. And yeah, you guys seem to really like them. And I do too. I like to compare products, especially a luxury product with a drugstore. I don't always show dupes, but I do show how one will wear against the other, because I think it's important to see. I mean, anything can look good when you first apply it. Well, most things, I shouldn't say always, but I need to know that in 7 or 8 hours, my makeup is still holding up. I'm not breaking through. I'm not showing makeup settled into fine lines. It doesn't look patchy on those oily areas. Those are all deal breakers, especially for $69. Okay, as I'm talking, you guys, I am noticing something big here, and that is the shade difference. That 5.5 is so warm that it really looks almost Oompa Loompa to me, where this side looks pretty flawless, I have to say, and I really like the final finish of it. I'm also noticing, and I'm gonna zoom you guys in so it's an unflattering look, but come on in and take a look. My pores are pretty accentuated on this side where we use the old formula. The new formula, I can definitely see some of that blurring effect. Now, let me check, because I bet this has silica in it. Let's just see. Let's go to the ingredient list real quick. Now, silica isn't a deal breaker for more mature skin. You just have to know that if your foundation is meant to control oil, or it has more of a matte finish, or is long wearing, any of those 3 benefits is usually obtained by including silica in the formula. Silica, because it's meant to control oil, it absorbs oil. If you don't have extra oil on your face, aka more dry skin, then that silica will absorb the moisture and leave your skin looking dry over time, and by time I mean 3, 4, 5 hours. Now, what you can do for that is apply a hydrating primer underneath your foundation. The one I like to use is this Laura Geller Spackle Skin Perfecting Primer. It's a hydrating primer, thin layer of this, and then you can apply a foundation or a concealer or any other product that contains silica. I did not do that today because I want to see how these wear without a primer and give us a true sense for how these work. Yes, it does have silica in it. Silica falls about, I'd say that's number 13 or 14 down on the list. So just know that, and it's, again, not a deal breaker. In fact, the foundation that you have, if you absolutely love it, it might contain silica already. And if you're finding that it wears a little patchy or dry, especially over constant use by months and months, you definitely want to make sure that you're adding more hydration, and this time of the year makes it that much more important. Initial thoughts are, I like the tone of the 4.5 in the new one versus the 5.5 in the old formula. I also like the coverage. I feel like this coverage looks really natural. The glow, if you will, is I have pretty skin glow, where this one, I feel like the coverage isn't as good. My pores are definitely more accentuated, and the glow is more of I have on a moisturizer on my face, which is interesting because this one has the niacinamide. I don't love the finish on the old version as well as I do on the new version. Now, because I like the shade of that new version, I'm gonna take a little bit on my finger and use it as my concealer today. And I've got some hollowness that we need to work on. If you have hollowness under your eyes that you struggle with, or dark circles, then check out this video right here, because it is a complete tutorial on how to fix or camouflage optically the hollows under your eyes. And it is really helpful. It's just 5 steps. It doesn't take long. You just gotta practice it. And it really does work. So I'm not getting too fancy today. I'm really more focused on these foundations. Gonna add a little bit of concealer just to brighten up this hollowness. I want to take a look, you guys, while this is sort of setting up, and see what the reviews are on this foundation. I typically don't read the reviews until after I've applied it, because I don't want any I don't know, preconceived notions in my head of what the reviews say. So I'm just gonna go to the Sephora website. I'm not gonna go to the Armani website because I'm not as confident. And I'm gonna go to the non-incentivized reviews only. Okay, so the first one is a 2-star. Shade 2 is not the same as shade 1.5. Disappointing change. Why do makeup companies always think that they need to change or improve their products? One lady gave it a love it. The next one is a 2-star, then a 2-star. Old formula was way better in my opinion. I loved the old formula and used it for years. It was my go-to foundation for any occasion. Sadly, the new formula doesn't work for me. It feels heavier on the skin and makes blending other products, especially powders, very difficult. Does it feel different on my skin? No, I don't have that experience. I should start this video by saying this isn't sponsored. It feels lightweight to me. I don't feel like I have a heavy foundation on any more than any other foundation, so I don't feel a heaviness to it on my skin. Let me see if there's a scent. Compared to the old one. I hope they fix this applicator on the new one because this old one was just messy. Slight. Yeah, there is a little bit of a scent, not much, and I'm pretty sensitive to scents. I get migraines pretty easy if there's a scent or fragrance. There is definitely a scent to this one, although on a scale of 1 to 100, I'd give it like a 15. So it's there. It's very faint though. All right, so now that we have an idea of how this looks, I'm kind of surprised that the reviews are as bad as they are online because I actually really like it. I don't like the old one. The old one looks patchy to me. The new one looks really pretty and flawless. So let's see how it wears. I'm gonna add just a little bit of blush. Just a little cream blush on the cheeks. I mean, $69 is still a high price point though. So as much as I love it, I don't know that I can recommend it at this stage of the review because that price point. But if it looks this good in 8 hours on oily skin as well as dry skin, then maybe it's a winner. So there's the final look upon application. I'm really curious to see how this wears. I'll come back on camera at about the 8-hour mark and see if we have any patchiness or oil breakthrough. I think upon the initial thought, you guys, I do like the new look way better than the old one. Part of it is the shade is a little bit better for me. If you have my skin tone, then 4.5 is probably a really good match for you. It looks really flawless. It almost looks as good as my Ulta Beauty Complexion Crush, and you know how much I love that one. That one provides a little more coverage, but the cool undertones of this is really what makes me love it. Plus, I don't feel like you can't see the pores on this side as obvious as you can on this side. And for that reason alone, I really like it. So let's fast forward 8 hours. All right, you guys, it's been 8.5 hours and I have some thoughts. I have some really dry lips too, but we're gonna overlook that right now. I have some thoughts. I wasn't a big fan of the old formula, so I wasn't really prepared to like the new formula. Plot twist, I love the new formula. Really like how it wore on my oily parts. The oil did not shine through. And on the dry patches of my skin, the foundation did not gather or look patchy. And I need to do a good scrub exfoliant. I have not done that for probably 2 weeks, which I should do that before I wear any foundation. But even the fact that I didn't do that and there are dry patches on my skin, this foundation really held up. So I was prepared to not like it because I'm not a fan of the old one. Final thoughts on this, I really, really like this new formula. So if you are on the market for a foundation that looks flawless for 8+ hours on mature skin, on dry skin and or oily skin, and you don't mind having that niacinamide in your products, I prefer it in my skincare. I don't hate it. I don't think there was enough in here to make it look slippery, or it didn't really impact the look to me. But just know that it is in there. I absolutely love this. This wears like the old formula of the YSL All Hours, which I absolutely love. It's not quite as full coverage, but everything else is pretty much giving me, yeah, it's giving me that vibe, which I absolutely love. I do think there are equally as good foundation formulas in a more reasonable price point. If you want some ideas on that, check out my video that I just posted about full coverage foundations. I give you some good recommendations. I'll link that one for you down below. But I'm a big fan of this, and I was prepared to not like it because I didn't like the first formula. The shade matching was really easy. I just had the shade that I used before, which was 5.5. I felt like it was a little dark, a little warm. So looking online at their shade matches, I just dropped down to, and I absolutely love this new shade. And if you're looking for more recommendations, then be sure to subscribe, because the video I'm working on right now is the best of 2025. I'm gonna break down all of my favorite product launches, ones that I have repurchased myself, not sponsored. That does it for me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in just a couple days. Bye-bye.